Hello everyone, hope you're doing well. Welcome to this week's check-in. Of course, this is going to be a study guide for Exam 1. So this is your study guide for Exam 1. It's due by Sunday end of day. So when I say Sunday end of day, of course, is Sunday the 20th. So in regards to this test, this is what you need to study for. But before I do that, I want to remind you to finish your Chapter 5 review questions. Those are due by the 13th. So be sure to finish your review questions. Those are due by the 13th. No review questions, of course, in this week's material because we have Exam 1. So I think it's going to be fairly simple for you. I don't think you're going to struggle a lot with it. Take your time, and if you go over these key points, you'll be just fine. Make sure you know what the term, and I would get a pen out really quick so you can notate this. Make sure you know what the term utilitarianism is. What is HIPAA? Make sure you know about against medical advice. We've talked about that a little bit. Consent forms is another thing that we've talked about. How about rights-based ethics, duty-based ethics, and justice-based ethics? Know what the difference is between a civil and criminal lawsuit? Talked a little bit about the Joint Commission. What it is, what do they do? Make sure you search for that. Maybe even Google it. Look and study exactly what the Joint Commission is and what the Joint Commission does. How about the doctrine of informed consent? That's an important one. Here's another 4 terms: autonomy, non-malfeasance, beneficence. Make sure you know those actually 3 terms. What about the doctrine of respondeat superior? That's an important one. How about implied consent? What does implied consent mean? Standard of care. What exactly is that? Not sure if I mentioned already, but autonomy. What does autonomy mean? And these are all multiple choice questions, which I think will add to the, not the easiness of it, but you don't have to remember the exact terms for everything. Of course, if you pick from a group or a list, it's usually a little bit easier. Know what tort law is? Constitutional law as well. Let's see what else you're looking for here. How about the branches of government? Executive branch, legislative branch, and the judicial branch, what it is and what do they do? What is it called when someone's acting on your behalf? Usually you call that an agent. I'm not sure if anyone's read that in the text, but know what the term agent is. We already talked about negligence, beneficence. How about fraud? Know what fraud is. There are some true and false questions as well. Professional organizations do what? We talked a little bit about the importance of professional organizations, just what they're meant for. Know a little bit about those. Implied consent, the doctrine of implied consent. What does that mean? You always hear the story of a guy walking into a lab department, and implied consent would mean, of course, you draw up your shirt to get a blood draw. That would be a method of implied consent. That's just one example. Let's see what else here. I think that's getting to pretty much everything. Oh, Good Samaritan laws. Make sure you know what Good Samaritan laws are. Yeah, I think that's it. There's 2 short answers. The short answers are they're pretty basic. Some true or false, and then the rest are multiple choice. Of course, if you have any questions related to this, you can always reach out to me via email. Hopefully this helps. Take notes, write down what you can, go back and research these terms. This is usually the hardest test for people because you get to know, kind of the challenge of law and ethics. But for some people, they kind of fly right through it. So if you did your homework and you did everything you could to read the material, you're going to be A-okay. On top of that, some of the questions in here will be repeated from the review questions that we've already went through. So be sure to go back and look at the review questions. If you took notes during the review questions, make sure you pull those up. If you need anything, please reach out. I'm looking forward to seeing how the test goes. It will be open starting today, so you have a full 8 days to finish it. Looking forward to seeing the grades. Let me know if you need anything. Thanks so much.